Hi, I'm Mark Toole with 8020service.com. Today's customer service video question of the day comes from Quora, and I'm going to keep this one quick because I've got something I need to do this morning. But the question is, why is it more expensive to get a new customer than to keep a current one? Well, first of all, like every question on here that starts with why, they're making an assumption. I'm not going to question that assumption here today. It may or may not always be more expensive to get a new customer than to keep a current one. But let's talk about customer retention, why it's worth keeping current ones, how you could do so, and the perils of how some people think that that's not necessary and they can always get someone else. Why is it more expensive to get a new customer? Well, generally speaking, this is real simple. To get a new customer, you have to do things. I'm not going to say what things. You have to do something, whether it's paying for advertising, whether it's putting in a lot of work, putting out free content that gets in front of people and draws them into a marketing funnel that you built, another thing that you did. You have to do things to get these people to come in and become customers. Now, this is not to say that you don't have to do anything to keep existing customers. You do, which is why I'm maybe questioning the premise that it's more expensive, but that's not really the point. Now, to keep existing customers, you still have to do things, but the things generally are things that you're going to be doing anyways if you're smart, if you're running a proper business. Things like having a good product. Things like making sure the marketing copy that sells your product accurately represents the product. I'm not saying don't use marketing, don't use copy. You absolutely should. Just don't say things that are blatantly untrue because people will notice. It means things like making sure everything works the way that it should, making sure that things are easy to access for customers, making sure that instead of simply forcing people to contact customer service and then answering their questions or handling their problems, anticipate those questions in advance, make the answers clear so they don't need to ask, prevent those problems from ever happening so they don't need to talk to customer service. These are things that these are things that you have to do. You have to do things. So by the logic here, they could also be expensive, just like getting a new customer could also be expensive. But typically, if they're talking about money, you're maybe talking about paying for ads to get a new customer, for example, putting in a lot of time and effort if it's something more one-on-one, like a client business, as one of these other guys is talking about here. But to continue to keep current customers, you just need to do a few things right and continue to do those things right. Yes, there's other things you can do on top of that, things like a early renewal campaign or other things like that, which I help businesses with. But really, keeping customers should be almost automatic. You should build that into your design of your business. That's why for a lot of, especially for information products, I really love the subscription business model. People put people on a yearly or ideally monthly subscription where the thing just renews every term. They continue to get it. They continue to use it. Obviously keep engagement up so they do continue to use it. But then keeping the customer becomes automatic. We're talking about whether or not you have to do things. The customer wants to continue. He doesn't have to do a thing. It just continues. He continues to receive the service or product. He continues to pay for it. Done. The only time he has to do a thing is if he decides he no longer wants to continue. Then he has to contact you in some way to cancel. Like I said, making typical user-friendly things easy and simple and preventing problems. Something like refunding or canceling. Maybe don't make that quite as easy. If they want to do that, have them contact you about it. It's not a insurmountable barrier by any means, but it's something at least. So, and again, that's optional. But really, that's my answer. I'm not going to make this too much longer because that's pretty much covered it. Why is it more expensive to get a new customer than to keep a current one? Because to get a new customer, generally, you have to do more things. And when you do things, they cost something, whether that's time, whether that's money, whether that's both. Whereas the things to keep existing customers once you've obtained them to begin with is things, you do things, but you do the thing once. You do it correctly, you build it into a system that happens automatically, and then customers generally stick around because you've built it that way. There are more advanced things you can do, different kinds of campaigns, different things you could send out. I'm not going to talk about those in this video. I do talk about them in my book that I just released, the 80/20 Service Guide, which is linked up on my website, 8020service.com. You can find that there if you're interested. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this video up here. And again, I do one of these videos every weekday on a customer service question from Quora or from YouTube. This one came from Quora. So Ask me a question. I may answer it. Either ask on Quora, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave it in the comments. May answer that in a future video. Subscribe, follow, like, upvote, all that stuff. Thumbs up. And otherwise, come back Monday for another video.